Welcome, Boomer Guitar Session special live episode. Today we're going to talk about beginner chord progressions that every beginner needs to know. Beginner needs to get into things that we want to practice, strumming, groove, practice tips, all that kind of stuff. Live today. Boomer Guitar Sessions. All right, I'm Rod. Hi, I'm Rod. So what we're going to talk about is beginner guitar chords and progressions. What is a chord? A chord is the things we strum. They're the... Okay. That's a chord. It's the things we strum. Okay. When you write a song, you have chords grouped into what are referred to as progressions. Okay. We're going to cover the important ones today, things that we should get in the comments of this live video is going to be a readout of some of the progressions or all of the progressions and then some of the things that I'm talking about. So anyway, with that said, what you want to do when you're getting started in the guitar, first of all, there's a whole batch of, like, when I say a whole batch, thousands of songs that are in the key of G major. Okay. G major is a real popular key in acoustic guitar because all the chords in G major, like a majority of them, like B minor, you need a bar chord, but a lot of them are open chords. So we have in G major, we have the G chord, the C chord, the D chord, the E minor chord, the A minor chord. Okay, we have the G. We have this thing here is called the D/F sharp chord. It is really common. Okay, the B minor chord is a bar chord. That is a little harder if you're getting started in guitar. We're gonna avoid progressions that have the B minor in it, and it's not that popular a chord. It does happen, certainly. It's like it does happen, but it's not nearly as popular as a lot of the other chords. And I think some of it is because it is a little harder to play. Okay, so the songs that are written throughout history are, like, a lot of the songwriters are they're not necessarily virtuosos on their instrument. They come up with a melody and they come up with a storyline, and they play chords that are easy to play and fall well within their fingers. So anyway, so common progressions. The first easiest progression I can think of in the key of G major. This is the G to your C add 9 chord. So the C add 9 chord is a chord that is a substitute of the C. Anytime you have a C in your chord progression, oftentimes the substitute is a C add 9 chord. So what we're wanting to do, again, is we're wanting to learn the progressions the chord progressions that lots of songs are based off of. So these are the classic progressions. It's not just one song, it's thousands of songs. So, and a little practice tip. In my lessons, in my teaching, in the Guitar Collective, we talk about economy and motion. These are the tricks, the hacks that you do that have you saving and conserving energy and motion, so it makes it easier to play. That is why you study with somebody, because of those hacks that they know, that they've learned. Like, they've learned stuff that the rest of us don't know. So anyway, one of those things, I call this a finger mold. All I'm doing is moving these two fingers, and they're moving together. It's like a mold. But also, with the top two fingers, Those are called scout fingers. Whenever you're moving from one chord to the next, you want to find fingers that are in common between the two chords. Okay? In the case of G to C add 9, the in common fingers are your 3 and 4. All right? So that is your G to C add 9. Okay, so now, next thing we want to learn is we want to learn songs that use the G, C, D, or C add 9, and then A minor and E minor. So for example, we want to bring the minor chords into it. So, but also G to D. When I move from G to D, the scout finger is my 3rd finger. Also note the way I play G. I don't play G like this. That is not what you hear when you hear guys playing the G chord, for the most part. Every once in a while, you got the guys like Glenn Frey in the beginning of Take It Easy. Whenever they use those sus chords, that's when you would use a G, that kind of G, that kind of fingering of G. I never use this. Okay. And it's not about me. It's about the people that we listen to. The sound of the G that we have is that we listen to. This is what you hear. Okay. Moving from G to D, we have the scout finger with your 3rd finger. So what I want to do when I'm practicing this, I want to play that over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Back and forth. Getting used to it. You gotta work through the awkwardness. It's like that's the part of the practice. That is the thing about practice. When we practice, we're working ourselves through the awkwardness. We want to get through that as quickly as possible so we can get right to play. Okay, so one of the reasons that I like this chord better than all the others is because of the scout finger, but also it's the sound that everybody uses. Then you have like an E minor. Now, when we finger in E minor, I use fingers 1 and 2, and I suggest you do too, because we have the access to that. That's your E minor 7, but also we have scout finger action from E minor to G, E minor to C. Both chords, they're common moves within these chords. We want to do fingerings that get us to the next chord in the easiest possible way. We're all taught, like in my generation, we were taught, or at least I was, I don't know if everyone was, this is an E chord, that is an E minor, so that's the fingering of E minor. But you know what? Nobody ever plays a song that has E to E minor. I say nobody. So, we could do something in the key of B, and that thing would work out. But it's not that common. Like, I don't know any songs that do it in that key. So with that said, that little E to E minor, that doesn't help us, because we never go from E to E minor. We do go from E minor to A minor. We do go from A minor to C. We do go from E minor, did I say A minor to C? E minor to C, E minor to G, E minor. Okay, so E minor 1st finger. So songs that have E minor to G, G to D with scout finger with our 3rd finger. Let's try the G, D, E minor, C progression. This is referred to by some as the axis progression. It is super common in the last music of the last 30 years. It's super common, probably even older than that. And it's the Beatles. It's like the Let It Be progression. And notice that rhythmically, right now I'm just getting these chords down. Rhythmically, I'm just trying to play a quarter note in time. Quarter note is at 1, 2, 3, 4. Set that as a goal. By learning this progression, you've learned 1,000 songs. All right, so what we could substitute the E minor to the A minor. That's a common progression as well. That will say that's like kind of like on a knocking on heaven's door on a tree of influence. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark to see. Feels like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Super common, super common. E minor, G, D, C. So that would be the minor version of the E minor. So the G, D, E minor, C, the minor version of that would be E minor, is E minor, G, D, C, or C at 9. Okay, now here's an important distinction here. It's like chord progressions are not copyrightable. So every chord progression I'm sharing with you, you can use that as the basis of writing your own songs. You put your own story, you put your own melody to it. That's an original song. The building brick of the chord progression is not copyrightable. So that is also why there's 1,000 songs. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. It's like thousands of songs. So with that said, chord progressions aren't copyrightable. So every one of these you can take with you and you can start writing songs. And that should be a future lesson. How do we write a song? But anyway, more of that later. So with that said, the minor version of the is going to be A minor, A minor to C, scout fingers 1 and 2. All I do is notice when I play my C chord is angled. My C fingering is angled. Those fingers are angled. These chords are great for songwriting, in case I haven't mentioned it. If you're a singer, this will get you started real quick. Okay, so A minor, C. Another thing we can do, one or two more. Okay, so E minor. E minor, minor, G, D. It's like your Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Green Day. It's another 1,000 songs. All right. One more. This little progression here. So G, this is called a D/F sharp. You want to learn that. And then it goes to E minor. It's a lot of songs. That D/F sharp is like it's a passing chord. And another version of that would be C, G/B, A minor. That would be the same progression in the key of C major. Okay, other things we could do. Let's bring some strumming into it. So if we were strumming, the easiest strumming pattern I can think of is what I call Joom 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 Joom. Joom 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 Joom. So that would be like this. Let's see, can you hear the drum beat? Just can't overplay. Now, when I'm practicing new strumming patterns, I use the G to C add 9 chord progression because it's super easy to get in and out of. Okay, now, Joom 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 Joom, one step harder and probably more cooler and more usable, is Joom 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 Jigga. So it's going to be down, 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 up. And notice when I'm strumming, this is important, that you want to keep your arm in constant motion. Joom 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 Jigga. That strumming pattern is in thousands and thousands of songs. So just practice it with those two chords. Get it down, get used to it. Work on the other things. Always be working on thinking and projecting it. We want to learn songs. So we learn songs that have chords that we can strum. Keep rhythm. Play with other people. Simple's all right. Get the simple song in. It's like, those of you who are singers, this is great for you. Okay? Those of you who like songs that have a vocal melody, this is great for you. So, okay, so next thing we can do, that's Joom 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 Jigga. Okay, so that's a really cool groove. All right, so next thing we want to check out, what I wanted to examine. So lots of G progression songs, lots of open chord progression songs. Like when I say open chords, like key of A. You want to learn songs in the key of A, key of D. Now, some of those are going to be harder than others, but it's like that. These are a lot of the keys that do like 3-chord songs. Other things we can do. Here's a big one. Here's a big one. EAD songs. This is what I call EAD songs. Okay, back in the late 50s, early 60s, garage bands cropped up all over the United States and probably the world. That one of the songs that everyone learned was Gloria. Even earlier than that, it was Buddy Holly. With Not Fade Away. So, which the Rolling Stones covered, which the Grateful Dead covered, which lots of people have covered. But that's a kind of a benchmark. Lots of people stole from that song. Those three chords are not in it's an E mixolydian. Okay. Back to Gloria. Now, when I move from E to D, we don't have a scout finger. We have a slide finger. Note that my first finger slides to the next fret. It does not lift, slides to the next fret. This is called economy of motion. As I said, economy of motion is the tricks, the hacks that get us from point A to point B in an easy way. Sometimes economy of motion tricks are song choices. Sometimes they are mindsets. Sometimes they are technical exercises or some sort of technique consideration. That is why you want to study with somebody, because it's like that stuff comes hard. Okay. So E, D, A, E, D, A. Okay, so now the opposite of that. Like ROCK in the USA. Also sounds like the Small Faces, going back to the 60s. When I move from E to A, I'm using that. And notice my A fingering. Notice my A fingering. The reason I do that is because the chords we go in and out of, the chords we go in and out of, we have scout fingers, we have slide fingers. So E to A, that's going to be slide finger. A to D, you have a slide finger and a scout finger. Anyway, EAD songs. So in like Gloria is a cool song to get used. If your first EAD song is Gloria, newsflash, I just learned this about not even a year ago. The lead guitar in Gloria is Jimmy Page before he was in the Yardbirds or Led Zeppelin. So you want to learn a Jimmy Page song or Jimmy Page guitar part? Listen to Gloria by Van Morrison and Them. Anyway. All right. So once you get some of this stuff down and these chord progressions down, you practice with the Joom 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 Jigga or Joom 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 or other strumming patterns, check out broken chording. Broken chording is what it sounds like. We're taking the notes of the chord and then we're breaking them up one at a time. Okay. This hand is easy. It's this hand that's doing all of it. Okay. In the future, possibilities. Open chords sound really good with fingerstyle. right. So this has been a lesson in what kinds of things we want to do in getting started with open chords and getting started with playing the guitar. What kind of chords you want to get into? G major chords, G major chord combinations. In the comment section, you'll have a lesson PDF from my guitar platform, which is called Guitar Collective. It is guitar platform for adults, all levels, but this is a beginner class, so it'll be you'll be all the chord progressions are going to be written out, and you have the lesson there. So if you have any questions, you can also write it in the comments. And this is Rod, Boomer Guitar Sessions. This is my second live lesson. It's fun. I like doing this. I'll see you next time. I believe in you. I'm grateful for you. And see you next time.